Hi guys, I'm Anita and I'm back with another video. Today it's time for another Monday reads where I talk about the books that I've been working on over the past week, what I thought of them, and what my general plans are for the next week. And did I meet my own goals that I set for myself last week? But let's start out with the statistics. First of all, I set out for myself to read 1,463 pages and finishing 3 books. And I ended up reading a total of 1,280 pages. And I did finish 3 books, but 2 of them were graphic novels that wasn't a part of my original TBR. But mostly just because I needed to finish something for the owls. And yeah, I'm not happy with my reading last week, but it was, I was not in that big of a reading mood, that's one thing. And then I was very busy at work last week, so I didn't have a lot of time to read at work as well. And yeah, I've been dealing a lot with headaches lately, so whenever I get these, I don't read anything, and that's sort of put a damper on my reading. However, I did finish 3 things, so I'm gonna talk about those now. The first thing that I finished last week was Into the Fire by Jeaniene, which is the 4th and final book in the Night Prince series. This is a series that's set in the Night Huntress universe. In order to get most out of these books, you need to read them in publication order because characters pop up from different series every now and then, and it's nice to get those references. And I personally also prefer the Night Huntress series over this, but I did end up liking this one for the most part. Leah, who is the main character of this series, is not my favorite of the female characters of this universe, but she definitely improved herself in this one, I think, and there were definitely some interesting things happening in this series, and I thought it ended up quite nicely. And so that's why I end up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. I definitely enjoyed it, and I think the audio narrator is always pretty great. But I'm looking forward to reading the first book in another series that started that follows a new character, and I'm looking forward to reading that for sure. The other 2 things I finished were graphic novels. The first one was Teen Dog Volume 1 by Jake Lawrence. This was... I decided to read this for my owls because it has a sort of red cover. It is more in the burgundy type of red, but I feel like it still fits with the red color. This follows a bunch of high school teenagers and their life at high school, and then it follows the perspective of that dog called Teen Dog, and he goes to this high school as well. He loves pizza and he's just very carefree and all of these things. So it was a little too quick to get places, and I wasn't really into the storyline because of that. It went really fast over things, and it was just a little bit too carefree for me as well. So I ended up giving it 3 out of 5 stars, and it's not one I'm planning on continuing for sure. And the last and final thing that I finished was Rust the Boy Soldier by Royden Lepp. Was that the name? I forgot the author name. I didn't write it down. This one was also not a favorite or anything, but it was definitely much more engaging than the other one. My reason for not giving it more than a 3.5 stars is probably that I thought it was a little too quick. I didn't really... It was 128 pages. For a graphic novel, that's fine. It's on the shorter length. You could read 20 pages in a row where there was no dialogue or anything. It was just the images speaking for themselves, and so it made for a really quick read, but it also made it not able to fully develop the characters or fully develop the storyline. But it was a prequel story about this series, and I'm contemplating maybe trying this out, but it depends if I can find a nice sale for the next parts. But I got this as part of a Humble Bundle deal, so that's the same thing with Teen Dog, and I'm happy I read these, and I haven't paid very much for them. So, but it's a good way of exploring new graphic novels that you haven't heard much about before, I think. But I'm not giving this 3 out of 5 stars because it was invested in parts of the storyline, especially considering this also has an AI storyline and I really enjoy them. And this one definitely also reminded me in some places of Descender. So, and I really love Descender, it's one of my favorite graphic novels, but I never really got very far into it before it was over. So yeah, so these were the things that I finished over the past week. I also made progress in some of the books over the week, so I'm gonna talk about my books that I'm currently reading, or the books that I actually read from last week and I'm planning on reading from next week. First things first, I started on Christine by Stephen King, which is my Stephen King book of the month. I decided before I went into this month that I wanted to read something from this every day and something from Foundryside every day, but I also figured out over the past week that sort of way of reading doesn't really work for me. I like to focus on one book at a time. It sounds weird because I can have multiple audios going. I can have 3 different things going at once. I have my audio that I listen to at work, and I have my audio that I listen to at home, and I have one book usually that I read from in the nighttime. Sometimes, very rarely, I can have one more going, but it depends a lot. It didn't really work for me last week, especially considering I was not in the mood to pick up, and when you read only 17 pages of a thing, you never really completely get into it. So I'd rather focus on reading from a book for an hour, from the same book in a day, and then the next day maybe read from another book. I can do that, but I definitely need more than just 17 pages before I stop. Anyway, I'm on page 78 out of 530 something pages, I think. And I'm definitely enjoying it so far. It has a creepy atmosphere for sure. It follows a boy named Dennis who tells a story about his friend Arnie. Yeah, who becomes obsessed with this car named Christine. And Dennis doesn't understand his obsessive need to get this car because it's like a really rusty old car that is super beat up and almost not able to drive, but he becomes so obsessed with it and he just needs it. No matter what it costs, he will have it. And Arnie doesn't understand this obsession with getting the car, but he's like, all right, well, I guess you can try and fix it up. It can be a hobby or something. And he reluctantly helps him get this, but when he already now knows that there's something off with the car, it felt like it was speaking to him. So there's definitely something going on there, and I'm definitely intrigued to read on in this one. I'm not going to put anything down to actually physically read this week, not because I don't want to, but maybe if I have time one day I might pick it up and read more, but my plan is to focus a little more on Foundryside because this is super easy to get into. I don't need to put a lot of focus on this one specifically, but I'm going to put it down for a week or so and see what happens. Because as I said, I have also been reading from Foundryside by Robert Jackson Bennett, and this one I am on page 61 out of 503 pages. And this is the one I will be focusing on over next week. I'm planning on trying to get through 150 pages-ish over the week, and that will leave me to around here, which I think is nice that I can actually see I get somewhere when over a week. So I put in a mark just to let me know how much I need to read to get to when I can stop for the week. And then we'll see if that I am able to do that. It will have to leave me to read like 25 pages a day, so that's better than before, but I don't necessarily have to only read from it one day. I could collect some reading every now and then, as long as I read 150 pages over a week. And another book that I'm also reading and I've been working on over the past week has been The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, and I have 310 pages left if my calculations are correct. And I'm about halfway through this one. But I was hoping that last week that I would finish it, but I didn't get around to finishing it because I think I'm not super into this one. I'm sadly not a super fan of this book, but I'm still going to continue because there are definitely elements of it that I like, but it just makes it not as fun to pick it up. But I think I'm gonna get through more my audio at home this week, so we'll see if I don't manage to finish it. Another book that I started on last week and I'm working on right now is Temptation Ridge by Robyn Carr. This is book 6 of the Virgin River series, and I am about almost finished now. Actually, I listened to it today and I have about 16 minutes left, so I'm probably gonna listen to this today at home as I do my cooking, because even if I do want to read from the Poppy War at home, it doesn't fit with my driving. So because I only have 16 minutes left, I'm going to be listening to it tonight and finish it tonight. Other plans I have for the week that I'm going to be starting. The first one is Myrtle Mulberry Band by Victoria Thompson. This is book 5 of the Gaslight mystery series. I love this series so much so far, and I'm looking forward to starting this tomorrow. These are usually tend to be pretty short. They're about 4.5 hours each in my speed, so I usually get through them in about 2. Sometimes it will take me probably 3 days, but then I have the remaining days to read from something else, obviously. It depends a lot on how much I get through over my workday, but I definitely know that I will finish this over this next week. And the last and final book that I put on my TBR for the week is Leah on the Offbeat by Becky Albertally. And I put this on because it's a pretty short book, but I only put myself down to about 200 pages, which is about half of the book. No, depending on when I stop, when I get through Myrtle Mulberry Band. So I put myself down for 200 pages because I can definitely do that. And yeah, I haven't put more books down because I'm not sure exactly how much I get through this week. On Sunday, I know I won't get any reading at all. So it all depends on how I read over the week. And so I didn't want to put down too many physically read pages. This gave me a total of 1,128 pages to read, and that is an average of 161 pages. So I figure that's pretty okay. So yeah, those are all of my plans for the next week. Let me know in the comments down below what you've read over the past week and if you enjoyed any of your reading. Did you set your goals for yourself this week, and what are you planning on reading over the next week? Let me know about that as well. And if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video very, very soon. Goodbye!